Hello, my beautiful black people. I'm going to try to make this video short. Okay. Now, a little while ago, there's a story that broke about the owner of the Clippers at the time. His name was Donald Sterling. I'm pretty sure you all remember the story. He was recorded telling his mistress that he didn't want her bringing black people to his arena. Now, ironically, yeah, you have a stadium full of fans, a lot of those black, paying their hard-earned money to go to these games. That's number one. And number two, the team that you own is jam-packed with black people. But he's telling his mistress he don't want her bringing black people to his arena. Now, I wanted to focus on what happened after this story got out. The story gets out. He receives a bunch of bad press. His next move was to go with television cameras to the nearest black church and engage in worship with those black people. And of course, the members and the leaders of that church welcomed him with open arms. And they also spoke to one of the members and I remember they were speaking to this woman where she was talking about, hey, we don't hold nothing against him, we forgive him, and on and on. And, there are other things that went on with that whole story of him selling off the team and everything, but I'm not going to go into that. That's not what I want to highlight in this video. Okay. A little while later, a college student riding on a bus with a bunch of his, I guess they were members of the fraternity he was in, singing a despicable and disgusting racist song about hanging and lynching black people. This story gets out. It's a bunch of negative press. What does he do? He shows up at the nearest black church, winds up in front of news cameras with members and leaders of the black church, speaking on how he was sorry for what he did and said. And of course you have the members of the church, these black people, standing behind him in full support of him, speaking on how they forgive him. A little while later after that, you have the Dylan Roof situation. He goes into this church and massacres 8, 9 black people. The cops catch him, and they take him to the nearest restaurant. I don't know if it was a McDonald's or whatever. And they feed this scumbag before they take him to jail. That's an angle that can be an entire video subject by itself. But I don't even want to focus on that point. I want to focus on what happened afterwards. What happened afterwards was surviving members of this church showing up, speaking on how they forgive this guy for what he did. I distinctly remember one of the people that he had killed. One of the members, her son, shows up in front of TV cameras speaking on the power of forgiveness. And I heard recently that the family, I mean, you know, he's going through the trial and everything, and I heard that the families of the people that he killed, they aren't even looking for the death penalty. Now, there's a couple of things I want to bring up. Number one, I want to ask you people something. Do you think if the shoe was on the other foot, do you think if some black person walked into some white church, well, number one, the story is that Dylan Roof walked into that church and they welcomed him in with open arms, and he actually sat through a part of their Bible study. Now, it's questionable if somebody black would even be able to do that, if they would be able to walk into a white church and sit be welcomed with open arms to sit in a Bible study with these people. I mean, that's questionable on whether that would happen. But my point is that they welcomed him in there, Dylan Roof, and he slaughtered these people with the idea that black people are no more than animals. They're less than animals. They're a nuisance. They don't deserve to live. These were the ideas that he had when he did what he did. Okay? And these church members, the surviving church members, the families of these church members that this trash killed, show up on the news. Not even a day later. If it was a day, it wasn't that long later. I'll put it that way. Where they show up talking about the power of forgiveness after this lowlife did this to their people. One of the women, I remember they showed her picture. She was an attractive woman. Her son is one of the people in front of those TV cameras talking about forgiveness. I mean, black people, are we gonna honestly act like we have not been taught to be weak and docile when it comes to living in this country, when it comes to being a part of this church, the black church? I mean, are we going to sit up here and pretend that that isn't what's happened to our people? Because I guarantee you, man, if the shoe was on the other foot, you would not have the families of white church members that some black person gunned down in cold blood. Man, are you kidding me? Do you think you would see those families in front of the TV cameras not even 24 hours later, before the bodies were even completely cold? Somebody's mom is killed and her son is on TV talking about the power of forgiveness. Are you kidding me? You know, there's a lot of talk about things that needs to be done in the black community. Black people. Are we gonna sit up here and act like that isn't a problem? Are we gonna sit up here and act like the black church isn't one of our biggest problems? I mean, think about the series of events that I just brought up. You know what I'm saying? It went from this old white man telling his mistress, hey, I don't want you bringing black people into my arena. And that, and that's another point that I wanted to highlight. The thing is, all of these people, they have something in common. You know what I'm saying? Not only are they white racists, but they knew that all they had to do was go to the nearest black church and they could exploit the hell out of it. They could exploit the hell out of us and the docile nature that we have, that we've been taught to have towards them. And one of the biggest tools that have been used to teach us to be this way. I mean, is there any denying that the black church is one of the biggest tools that have been used to teach us this? I mean, it goes from him saying what he said about not wanting black people in his arena to the next guy, another scumbag, singing about hanging and lynching black people. He knew. Let me find the nearest black church. And just like Donald Sterling, those people welcomed him with open arms, and they're in front of TV cameras with him, with the whole idea of forgiveness. So it goes from this guy saying he don't want black people in his building to this guy saying kill black people, singing a song about killing black people, to the Dylan Roof incident where he actually walked into a black church. I mean, do you see what happened? You have a guy that's speaking about don't bring black people to my arena. He gets caught. He gets a bunch of negative press. He goes to the black church. And those people welcome him with open arms. And you have this member talking about, we don't hold that against him, we forgive him. You have the next guy that takes it a step further. He's not talking about, I don't want them in my arena or my business. He's singing a song where he's singing a song about the murdering, lynching, hanging black people. Gets bad press. He goes to the black church and he shows up in front of TV cameras with all these black people standing behind him. Everybody standing arm in arm or whatever. He's saying, I'm sorry, and they forgive him. Dylan Roof, He takes it to the next level. He doesn't do or say anything to where he gets outed for it. No. He takes it upon himself to walk into a black church. They welcome him with open arms. He sits in a Bible study with these people. He's armed and he gets up blasting and he kills all of these people. And less than a day later, I believe, the surviving members of this church show up on TV. The son of one of the people that he killed, they are standing in front of news cameras speaking on how they forgive this piece of trash. Black people, I mean, the evidence is there, okay? The evidence is there. You guys are gonna honestly try to make it seem like this isn't true. The evidence is there. The black church, man. I mean, look here. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome. Black people, we've proven ourselves to be insane. Especially when it comes to this church. All right, y'all. I'm out.